Good morning, students. Students, in the previous video lecture, we have seen what is the magnetic flux. We have introduced the magnetic flux, that is phi b, and phi b was in vector form. It is B dot A because phi b is a scalar quantity, and we have defined the definition. It is the dot product of magnetic flux density and area vector of a plane surface, and we can say B dot A is BA cos theta. So phi b is BA cos theta. And students, we have find out the dimension and unit of phi b in terms of B and A, because the unit of B is Tesla and unit of area is meter square. So we can say it is Tesla meter square, or phi b is Tesla meter square. And we can also find the dimensions of magnetic flux, and for finding the dimension we will find the dimension of B, which is I BL F equal to IBL sin theta, and dimension of F is ML P minus 2, and the dimension of I is A, dimension of L is L, and dimension of B is T. So we can say that this M L to L cancel out, M A2 minus 1 T minus 2 is equal to B. So the dimensional equation for magnetic flux density is, you are seeing here, M e to the power minus 1 to the power minus 2. This is the dimensional equation, and we could use this dimensional formula here to find the dimension of phi b, and phi b is equal to dimension formula of phi b equal to B. B is M A minus 1 T minus 2, and for A is L2 L2. So this is the dimensional formula for phi b, M L2 T minus 2 A minus 1 we can say, and this is the unit SI system in SI system. Now students, we have also defined the magnetic induction given by the Faraday, and Faraday told us whenever there is a change in magnetic flux linked with the coil, with the coil, an EMF is induced across the end of the coil. So this is the first law of the Faraday. So first law of Faraday, we can say Faraday's first law is whenever there is a change, very important word here, you have to keep notice at this particular word. Whenever there is a change in magnetic flux is what? Phi b. Whenever there is a change in magnetic flux linked with the coil, means the flux which is passing from we can say a coil. So whenever there is a flux change in a particular coil linked with a particular coil, an EMF is induced across the end of the coil. This is the first statement, and the second is what? The EMF induced in the first, he told what is the cause of the electromagnetic induction, and in the second law he told how we would find the induced EMF. So the EMF induced is, we can say, directly proportional to, he told us the EMF induced is directly proportional to the rate of change of magnetic flux linked with the coil. So in the first he told whenever there is a change in, magnetic flux linked with the coil, whenever there is a change in magnetic flux linked with the coil, and EMF is induced across the end of the coil, and EMF is induced. So how an EMF is induced? This is given by the Faraday first law. Whenever there is a change in magnetic flux linked with the coil, an EMF is induced across the ends of the coil. Second part, this is the reason for induction of EMF across the coil, and second is the mathematical form of this particular concept, that the EMF induced, let's say denoted by E, the EMF induced across the end of the coil is directly proportional to the rate of change of flux linked with the coil. The rate of change of flux linked with the coil, and we know that for representing the change we use the operator delta. So the change in flux is delta phi v, and for rate it is delta t. In delta t time interval, the change in flux is delta phi v, and it is directly proportional to the EMF induced across the ends of the coil. So we can say E is proportional to delta phi v upon delta t. We are considering a single term. We are taking a single term, and we know that its proportionality replaced by equality. We have to place a constant, and the value of the constant find by the experiment, and which is taken here minus 1. So it is minus delta phi upon delta t. So we can say the EMF induced is minus delta phi b upon delta t. This is the mathematical formula by which we are able to find the induced EMF if we have given the rate of change in magnetic flux. This is for the single term. If there are n terms in the coil, then the net E is minus n delta phi b upon delta t, where n is number of terms. And this is, we know that whenever there is delta, it is average value, and for instantaneous EMF, this is average EMF because there is delta, and if delta t time interval tends to 0, when delta t is very small, so we can say limit delta t tends to 0 minus n delta phi upon delta t. If limit delta t tends to 0, we are applying the limit, because when you take the particular result for a small interval of time, that is delta t tends to 0, then this quantity delta phi upon delta t would become, and E become instantaneous, and it is equal to minus n d phi b by d. It would be converted into the differentiation, and we can say this is instantaneous EMF induced in the coil equal to minus n d phi by dt. This is instantaneous, and that previous one was average. This was the average, and this is instantaneous. And I have already always told you one thing, that whenever we find the change delta v, it means it should be final minus initial, final flux minus final magnetic flux minus initial magnetic flux. You have to do in this way, and this is the unit of this is obviously volt, because it is the EMF, and we have already known that the unit of EMF in the chapter cell, where we discuss the cell simple circuit. This is the volt. Now there are many ways. One more thing, this minus sign indicates what? This is very important. This minus sign indicates what? The minus sign is indicating that the induced EMF, the explanation of this minus sign is given by Lenz, and there is a law which is called Lenz law, and you have already studied this law in your class 10. You can say in class 10 you have studied what is the significance of this negative sign here. The negative sign student indicates that the induced EMF opposes its own cause of production. The induced EMF opposes its own cause of production. This is by the Lenz law, which defines this negative sign significance here. So this negative sign is explained by the Lenz law, and according to Lenz law, very important, according to Lenz law, negative sign negative sign indicates that induced EMF opposes its own cause of production, What is the use of Lenz law? Is it only for the learning purpose? No. It is very important in this particular chapter for finding the polarity of the induced EMF. What I am saying, very important, this statement which I am saying here, that the induced EMF opposes its own cause of production, which is Lenz law, and by this Lenz law we would find the polarity of the induced EMF. Because we know that voltage, there is a polarity plus minus. So where is positive terminal and where would be negative terminal for the induced voltage? This would be find out by using the Lenz law very easily. So just start understanding this concept, Lenz law, with an example, so that you will be able to understand the concept of Lenz law and able to find the polarity. Let's say we have a coil and it is like this. We have a coil and these are the ends of the coil, and there are n number of turns. You are seeing here there are n number of turns, let's say. Okay, now suppose there is a magnet, permanent magnet, you can say bar magnet. This is north and this is south, in such a way. So this is the coil and this is the end of the coil, x and y, and beside this coil a bar magnet is placed. You are seeing in the figure. Now I am asking to you students whether, because of this, you know that there is permanent bar magnet, and because of this bar magnet there is a magnetic field, and we can say this coil is in the magnetic field, and I am asking a question to you: is there any EMF induced across the end of the coil? Is there any voltage there? Is there any potential difference between these ends of the coil because of the magnetic field of this bar magnet? You have to just carefully go to the concept of Faraday first law, and Faraday told that whenever there is a change in magnetic flux, so obviously because of this bar magnet, some magnetic field lines would be passing from the coil. Suppose yes, you can see here, and they are coming like this. So you are seeing there, definitely there are flux linked with the coil. Because number of coils are passing to the cross section of the coil. But is there any EMF induced across the ends of the coil? This is my question. Because if right now you would be able to understand this point, you would able to understand what is the electromagnetic induction exactly, and there would be further no problem in this particular chapter. So I am trying to clear this concept for you. You are seeing that this bar magnet is here, and there is a There is a magnetic field, there is an area of the coil, it means B dot A is there. But EMF induced here, if whether EMF would induce or not? No. The answer is no. Why the answer is no? Because we know that whenever there is a change in magnetic flux, not presenting of the magnetic flux at this point would able to reduce the EMF, because the EMF induced only when there is change in magnetic flux. Magnetic flux is there, but it is not changing because this is a bar magnet and it produces a permanent magnetic field, and we know that it doesn't change with time. And if the magnetic field is not changing with time, it means the number of lines which are passing through this area, this coil, is fixed. It is not changing with time. Means after some time, 5 minutes, if we take example, there is 3 number of lines. After some time, there is also 3 number of lines passing from this. It means flux is not changing. And we have to mainly concentrate only that flux which is linking with the coil. So the EMF would induce only when there is a change in magnetic flux linked with the coil. I am adding a word, magnetic flux linked with the coil. So what is the meaning? Is this part and this part is linked with the coil? No. This part you are seeing here is not linked with the coil. The part which is passing from the coil is also responsible for induced voltage. So there are many key points you have to understand in this particular concept, that the EMF linked with the coil only responsible for the induced EMF. And whenever there is a change in flux, not only because of linking, there is no EMF induced. If you join a voltmeter, there is no reading in the voltmeter because no EMF induced across the ends of the coil. Now we are likely to change the flux linked with the coil. Now what we have to do? Either we would move this bar magnet in this direction, in the direction of the coil, or opposite to the direction of the coil. In both cases, the number of lines which are linking from this coil, if you move in this direction, the number of lines would increases. Suppose it moves and you are seeing here, as the bar magnet moves towards this, more number of lines from the same area. You are seeing here, if you take the same area of the coil, from this portion 1, 2, 3, from this portion 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. More number of lines, less number of lines. It means there is a change obviously. So when we move this bar magnet towards the coil, there is a change. We need only change. We don't need whether the flux is increasing or decreasing. It doesn't matter. But the matter is whether is flux changing or not. So when we move this magnet towards the coil, obviously there is a change in magnetic flux linked with the coil. Then EMF will induce at the end of the coil. In the same way, if you move the magnet in the opposite direction, obviously there is also changing, but the magnetic field lines would decrease. In that case, if you move in this direction, magnetic field lines, magnetic flux increases, in this direction decreases. But in both cases there is a change. It means there is an induced EMF. I think you have got my point here. You have understood what exactly the electromagnetic induction is of the Faraday. Now this is the electromagnetic induction concept. Now we are going to find, suppose we are taking the first case. And this bar magnet is moving toward this. Okay, just understand. So it is moving toward this. We are taking this bar magnet towards the coil. Now EMF is induced, definitely EMF will induce. Now we want to find whether this terminal will be positive or this terminal will be positive. If this positive, then this negative. Then how we would be able to find polarity of the induced voltage? That is my point. And this is by the Lenz law. Because in class 10 you have situation to find the polarity of the induced voltage. Let's start to apply. Before applying the latch law, you have to keep one point in your mind very clearly. I have told you, suppose this is a current carrying loop and the current is flowing, let's say clockwise, and I have told you the current carrying loop behaves like a bar magnet. Current carrying loop behaves like a bar magnet. It means there is a north and there is a south pole because of magnetic field induced because of the current which is flowing in the coil. So this loop has two phases. I have already told you in the previous video lecture. This loop has two phases. One phase which we are seeing, and the another phase is behind this phase. Means if this is a loop, you are seeing from here current is flowing clockwise, and if you are seeing from here, another person which is seeing from here, he sees the current is flowing anti-clockwise. The person which sees this from this side, the current is clockwise, and a person sees same loop from this side, current is anti-clockwise. So if the current is clockwise flowing, I have told you that this phase would be south. Which pole? South. And the loop behind and the phase behind this would be north. So this concept you have to clear in your mind, and now we are going to apply this concept very easily here to find the polarity also. Let's see. We are seeing that EMF is induced because when we moving this bar magnet toward this, the number of magnetic field lines increasing and there is a change in magnetic flux linked with the coil. And let's start to that it is an indicator that EMF induced opposes its own cause of production. Its own cause of production. So we have to take polarity in such a way. We have to take the polarity in such a way that because of this induced voltage, if the circuit is closed, there is obviously an induced current. If the circuit is closed, there is obviously an induced current, and the induced current produces an induced magnetic field of itself. Induced current would produce the magnetic field of itself. There would be two magnetic fields, one because of this bar magnet and second because of this induced current. And that induced magnetic field could be such a way that the direction of that magnetic field, the direction of that induced magnetic field, the direction of that induced magnetic field would be in such a way that it should oppose the cause of production of voltage, induced voltage or current. It should oppose the direction of induced voltage. Now, I think this part is clear to you. Now, what is the cause of production of induced voltage in this case? You have to keep noticing attention, and at this point, you have to search what is the cause of production of induced voltage. So induced voltage is producing because the flux is increasing. The number of lines which are linking from this coil is increasing. So the induced magnetic field should be in such a way that the magnetic field should be in the direction opposite to this magnetic field. Because the induced field would try to overcome the increment in the flux linkage, because it has to oppose the cause of production. So the cause of production here increment of the magnetic flux. So the induced magnetic field should be in such a way that it should oppose. So oppose means the direction of magnetic field would be in the opposite direction, so that the net number of lines would be decreased, because it has to oppose the cause of production. situation. So just see, we have one point very clear that if the current would flow, if the circuit is closed, then the magnetic field because of that induced current would be opposite to the direction of this field. This field in this way, so the induced field would be like this. Induced field, magnetic field would be opposite to this, because in that situation, this induced field would decrease the number of magnetic field lines which are linking with the coil. So if this is the magnetic field like this, means from here, from this phase, we know that this phase from here, a person which is seeing this phase from here, from this side, and he is seeing that the magnetic field lines are entering. It means that phase from that side should be south, because we know that in the south pole magnetic field lines enter, and the phase which is just behind this and the person is watching from this side, it should be north. So here south, here north, this one south, this one north. In the same way, the phase this is south and the phase which is seen from here is north. I think you have cleared the polarity of this. And if this is south and we have bound this like this, so the phase which we are seeing actually we are winding like this, in this way. The phase which is seeing is south and from here it is north. And we know that in the south current is clockwise. In the south current is clockwise. So if this is south, so the current will be clockwise. Right. Direction of the current, this is clockwise. So finally we have got one in the direction of the induced current, and the current is going from here, so it is coming from here. So finally we have direction of the induced current for this particular situation. This is the induced current, and this is the induced current, and here this is the induced current. We know that this is positive, this is negative, because current flows from plus positive terminal. So finally we are able to find out the polarity of the induced voltage, E induced. Because of which law? Lenz. So this is the importance of Lenz law in this particular chapter. Very important point here you are seeing Lenz law. Now I am going to the this particular concept we have done from trial at your home. Now if suppose this was the coil and the circuit let's say is closed at same case, and we are taking a bar magnet towards this way. So we can say here if the induced voltage is V, E induced, and the number of turns is N, a current starts flowing in and if the resistance of the coil is capital R, if the resistance of the coil is capital R, then we can say current I induced equal to E induced upon R, resistance of the coil, RC, let's say RC, resistance of the coil. So A induced is what it is? And delta phi upon delta t. I am not taking the negative sign because that is for the only finding the polarity purpose. So this is n delta phi upon delta t upon RC, obviously there is RC. So this is the induced current formula. Now if in delta t time interval, because we are considering the delta t, if in delta t time interval current is flowing, it means charge is moving, and charge is moving. So what is the induced charge which is in delta t, let's say the induced charge is q, and we know that I induced equal to q induced upon delta t. Q induced upon delta t. So from here q induced is equal to I induced into delta t, and I induced is n delta phi upon delta t into delta t. Delta t cancel out. So finally q induced equal to n delta phi upon r. This is the q induced formula. What is the induced charge in delta t time interval? And you could see here that this is the number of terms, and delta phi is change in magnetic flux. Change in magnetic flux. It is not depending on the time interval. It is not depending on the time interval. It is depending on the